right before you're like, oh crap, how much Lloyd hair do I have on me? You're fine. People are way used to being covered in Lloyd hair in these reviews.
It's true.
I mean, come on. Usually, it's the only hair that ever really pops up in these. I do want to give a shout out because this was requested to us over on Patreon, and it was requested to us by David Johnson, who requested Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. And if you want to contribute to our Patreon, it's over at patreon.com/thecinemasnob, where we have polls over there. We've got early access to Snob episodes, and in the case of this, you can also make midnight screenings requests as well. I'll put a link in the comments and in the descriptions. So it was nice having this one requested because I probably haven't seen this movie in 25, 26 years.
Same.
Maybe, or something.
Same.
It's been a long time. I did watch the animated series.
Same.
I watched.
Grew up with it.
Yeah, I watched it, and there weren't a lot of the comic book animated series that I did watch. This one I did. It probably helped largely because I grew up watching Batman stuff, so it was certainly my wheelhouse. And I think when it was on in the afternoons, it was probably also on at the right time.
Yeah.
Where I was like...
right after school.
Right after school and right before Family Matters reruns.
Yes.
So it hit that like sweet spot right there. Other animated... I didn't watch X-Men. I didn't watch Fantastic Four. No. I was
loved X-Men.
Oh, everyone else I know watched it. No, I was a sitcom guy.
Okay.
A sitcom guy, and I mean, there was a reason why I was sitting there anxiously awaiting an hour block of Family Matters every day after school, sometimes sandwiched in between Saved by the Bell. Sure, I'll watch Batman. This one, I didn't see this movie in theaters, but I saw it not that long afterwards. I think when it hit video, because
I was gonna say, did it have a theatrical release?
No, it was in theaters.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was when I first found out it was Mark Hamill as the voice of Joker.
Yeah.
No, when the behind the scenes footage of this was airing on, I think HBO had like a behind the scenes featurette for this movie when it came out, and Mark Hamill was one of the ones interviewed. I think that was like the first time I noticed that it was him doing the voice of the Joker. I see this movie get brought up a lot from Dave to Rob and a bunch of other people that we know about this.
Not Dave Johnson, right?
No, I've not met Dave Johnson personally. I hear good things. I've not met him. I hope he does. I hope he never gets busted for anything. Otherwise, that footage might come back to haunt me. I hear good things.
I've got a character witness from the Cinema Snob.
Yeah. Seems like an alright guy who recommended us a really good movie that we haven't seen in a couple of decades. No, I often see this one get cited amongst the best Batman movies. At least like the best theatrical, the ones that were released theatrically. Yeah. And I can see why. It's, it's 76 minutes, so really if you don't like it, you're not spending that much time watching it. Right. Also, it is a real detective story. Yeah. It has a real film noir atmosphere to it.
Absolutely.
Between the rain, the fog, the flashbacks. I love how Gotham City looks in this movie. Because it is like that 50s sort of atmosphere. But
kind of like 30s, 40s.
If it eventually society turned into those cities of the future. Yeah. Like infomercials and like short films that you'd see pop up back in the day. Hell, this movie even has a nod to that where they go to the world of the future, like amusement attraction.
The World's Fair.
Yeah, the World's Fair. Yeah. Like if society actually did kind of turn into that, where you have all this sort of modern technology but still old cars and the style of suits, the buildings, the landscape,
kind of like
and
Space
everything.
Age.
Yeah. It's I do really like that about this and about the animated series in general. It factors so deeply into this movie that in the last act, it is this kind of creepy sequence that is taking place in that abandoned World's Fair.
Yeah.
Where it also kind of turns into a monster movie, too, where they're running through that giant city. And he's punching... Yeah, that model of Gotham City. And he's, like, punching at helicopters and shit. Yeah, and again, there's creepiness to it, like Batman suddenly popping up out of the darkness in dark rooms when Andrea Beaumont turns on the room, when really she should be a lot more startled that he was standing right in front of her when she turned the lights on.
Right.
And also that the Joker's clearly banging that robot. It gets a little lonely at the World's Fair. Oh no, he's having sex with that thing. That's why the movie's only 76 minutes. The 86-minute version, just railing that robot.
You just hear the director from the sound booth. Okay, Mark, this scene is where Joker has sex with the robot.
It's the sex scene.
Take one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sex scene. We're not sure what rating this is gonna get, really. We're trying to out-dark Batman Returns a little bit. So we'll throw in some hardcore deep penetration. Don't worry, it's with a robot. We might get an R. There's some real Orson Welles love in this movie too, because the camera angles are gorgeous.
Oh, totally. No, and I think that's what you gotta love about the animated series, the Batman animated series from the 90s, is that it was so LA noir. It was so it was that old style of filmmaking,
and just a lot of Wells love too, between the shots at the fireplace, and a lot of the noir stuff, a lot of Citizen Kane, a lot of Touch of Evil, really thrown into this film. I do wish I did see this in the theater. It would have been really cool seeing on the big screen. I know it's come back a bunch of times. Which we missed it every single time.
Right. Because I mean, I think at this point it's just kind of like, I don't want to spend money to see a 25-year-old movie, you know.
I don't mind that. Yeah. I don't, because usually that's my excuse to watch something again. Which is why I'm glad we have these Patreon reviews too, because it does give me an excuse to go back and watch something again.
Right on.
And
this time they're paying you.
You're right, exactly. That helps too. So it works out when the movie's really bad. You're getting paid. Oh, okay. Now, I watch so many movies that that in my leisure time, I'm usually wanting to watch a TV series.
Yeah.
So when something comes back to theaters, like me and Laura going to see Ghost a few months ago, and Ninja Turtles, I kind of use that as my excuse to rewatch stuff again. Especially in the case of this as well. And I'll say that there's so much of it that really holds up, like these decades later, because it's still entertaining. It's still a really tight film.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Batman origin done many times over the years. This movie, and there's a lot of stuff in this movie that you've seen in other Batman movies and Batman animated stuff before, but how all of the flashbacks into it are integrated into the overall plot of it, it doesn't feel like filler. It feels like it's not only providing backstory to him, but Andrea Beaumont as well, and a bunch of other characters.
Agreed.
So it didn't feel repetitive to me of like, oh, well, here we go with this flashback again. What about you?
No, you're right. I think it was really well done how it provided all that backstory.
It made her figure out who Batman is fairly quick.
Right.
She's like,
ooh, and she delivered the sickest burn too.
Yeah.
Sickest burn.
She just had to see him dressed as Batman standing over his parents' graves, like, Bruce, why are you dressed as Batman?
Because he is Batman, you idiots.
Was. I love Batman Returns. So, she did that because when he's dressed as Batman, that sick burn that she had.
What
was it again?
in the scene where she turns on her bedroom light and he's standing right there, and she's like barely shook. He interrogates her about her father, and says and asks, "Are you still following Daddy's orders?" And she goes, "The way I see it, the only person here still hung up on their parents is you."
Asshole.
And it's like, oh, it's
mama's boy.
That works on two levels. It's like, I know you're Bruce Wayne.
Not even his armor's gonna protect him from a cut that deep. Yeah. With the Phantasm being there too, it works on a couple of different levels. One, it's a couple more rewrites could turn this into a Batman slasher film.
Yeah.
Like, he's going after old mafia guys.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like animated and comic book Batman versus movie Batman a little bit, where it's like this Batman's going up against another shadowy vigilante figure that this time is just straight up kill you. Yeah. There is one thing about this movie that does date it. For the 99.9% of this movie really does feel like, yeah, you could watch. This could have been made any time, really. For the most part, you're not watching it feeling like you're watching something. It's almost 30 years old until the song at the end comes in.
Exactly.
And it's not Tia Carrere did it,
right?
Tia Carrere.
Seriously?
Yeah, that was a Tia Carrere song. Didn't you meet her?
Yeah,
I thought you interviewed her once at one of the conventions.
I attempted to interview her and she declined. But yeah, meeting her was pretty cool.
Did you say to her, "It is only going to be Mask of the Phantasm questions"?
No. But I should have.
Yeah, it's just gonna be about Batman, man. And it's not a bad song. It's not, and I like Tia Carrere a lot. Yeah. She does, in my opinion, the best version of Ballroom Blitz.
Agreed. Agreed. Which is why finding out that was her, I'm just like, wait, that is like, that's just wrapping my head around the girl that did Ballroom Blitz also did that very R&B.
She's got a rockin' voice. She really does. And she does the song at the end of this, which feels wildly out of place.
Right.
Like
very 90s. Very 90s R&B.
It does feel like the studio wanted them to put something like this in the movie a little bit.
By the way, commenters, help me out. What was the name of that Disney 90s R&B remix album? They took all these old Disney songs and did R&B. Comment below.
This is kind of what this sounds like or something. It sounds like your standard song you would hear at the end credits of an early 90s action movie or an early 90s pretty much anything really from the early 90s. This sounds like it could be put at the ending credits of like an erotic thriller, really. Yeah. And it's here, and it is kind of funny. That's really the only thing that kind of dates it a little bit, because it is so random when at least like okay, when you hear the Prince songs from '89 Batman, those sound like songs from 1989. Yeah. But they're integrated into the movie.
Right. Yeah.
It's not just that popping up at the ending credits or something.
Sure.
They are factored into the Joker's taste and into certain big set pieces in that film. Yeah. This isn't that. This is like Kiss from a Rose popping up at the end of that.
Exactly.
Batman Forever. And that was only like the last 30 seconds of those credits.
So out of place. So weird.
This is the whole ending credits. It's playing that. And it was... it wasn't a bad song though. Like I'll say that about it.
I'll give it a B+.
Yeah,
a B+. Because here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, By the way, Dave, thank you again for this request.
Definitely.
It really kind of brought me back to being like a teenager and watching this all over again. However, there was something about the movie that if I had watched this back then, there's no way I would have picked up on this. I don't know. I just would have been just too mesmerized by Batman and everything. But now I'm watching it and I'm seeing
holes.
Beaumont. What's her name?
Andrea Beaumont.
Andrea Beaumont as the Phantasm or whatever. There's a scene in which a guy throws a broken shovel handle at her, and it just phases right through her. And I'm just and so back then it was before we knew knew who she was. Like, we didn't know it was her or not. But then once it was revealed that it was her, I'm just kind of like, wait a minute. So how does she do that? How does she like just puff of smoke and disappear?
Because she's movie Batman. She can do that shit. That magic shit. You see, like, I get to go back to that, and also she's kind of a slasher movie character.
I guess,
she's got later Jason Voorhees powers where he could just like teleport and do shit.
Yes, yeah.
She's an illusionist. She's a very good one.
She is. So that's why I was like I said, me at 13, there's no way I would have caught on to that, but me as a 40-year-old, I'm just kind of like, wait a damn minute, that doesn't make no sense. I'm like, so yeah, I gotta give this a B+.
I'll give it. I didn't have a problem with that, really. I don't even know if that's anything I would have really noticed, because this is a movie where people just survive off a 1,000-foot drop falling off of a building and a globe and things like that. So,
True.
But I mean, I get it. If you notice it, you notice it. Like me, I kind of accepted that things like that would happen in this universe. I'd give it an A-.
Would you?
Yeah, because there is familiar things that happen in it. Granted, it's doing all that stuff very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
But it does cover a lot of ground that a lot of Batman movies and material do, from the flashbacks to even a love interest also being kind of a villain and familiar territory in it. But again, it's great at it, and it's beautiful and very haunting in a lot of sequences. So I'd give it an A-. It was fun watching it again. So thanks, Dave Johnson, for the recommendation. Again, subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/thecinemasnob, and click on the links in the description. See you next time.